Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of What We Do in the Shadows Season 6 premiere. And this included 3 episodes for some reason. Let us see here. Being The Return of Jerry is the first, Headhunting for the second, and Sleep Hypnosis for the third. I don't like that we have 11 episodes this season, and then we're already starting off cracking out 3 in one shot. That I don't like. I almost was just going to do this as just a whole season review because I don't like it when shows do this kind of stuff. Because I either then have to do 3 episodes in one, like I'm doing here, or do 3 individual ones, and it makes more problems than it needs to be. Now, this is the final season of What We Do in the Shadows, and I think that this was just an okay start. It's not the worst that I've seen, but we're just kind of retreading certain kind of grounds, and nothing really got to me to the heights of, like, the trial, and the baby, and everything like that, and what was kind of going on there. We also are a retread of pretty much this takeover of, like, the new world and everything. Because we learned that there was actually another vampire named Jerry, and that they had let him do a super slumber. He was supposed to be waking up in 1996, but now they wake him up now, and he's kind of pissed off at them, and pretty much brings up this kind of old kind of stuff. Nandor's not like the relentless conqueror that he used to be. Nadja and Laszlo did have some kind of issue because she wanted to, like, they weren't speaking for, like, years or whatnot. Because Nadja wanted to go and get, like, a job and, like, be around humans to kind of learn about them and whatnot. Laszlo was doing experiments that were pretty much like Frankenstein to create a monster, and evidently he was supposed to be friends with Colin Robinson, but now he's just like, dude, you're annoying the fucking shit out of me. So it just pretty much throws the house into chaos. Laszlo just being like, shit. Yeah, there's a reason I kind of, like, didn't do this. We get that more in the second episode. But we see this then kind of, like, shaking us up, having this different kind of status quo. But it's not really that different. Guillermo has pretty much moved out of the house, but has just pretty much moved to the same kind of quarter of Laszlo's wanking shed. I wish they had actually let him leave the premises. But I understand that you've got a set and you're going to kind of use that. He's gone back to work at Panera Bread and dealing with all that. And of course, he's got to deal with the problems of the housemates. They're like, what the fuck's going on? And he brings up that Jerry's the problem. So they kind of have to deal with it. However, their way of dealing with the problem is to kill Jerry. But then Guillermo's able to just kind of talk him out. Kind of gets together with the guy and be like, yeah, he wants to, like, conquer the new world. And pretty much just tosses him as a grenade to kind of, like, get him out of there while everybody pretty much gets set up for their seasonal arc. Nandor dealing with not really being the relentless conqueror kind of dude and trying to keep that kind of going up. Laszlo going on the whole kind of mad scientist experimentation and trying to create life. And Nadja working at pretty much a human place. Alright, now let's go to the headhunting one. This one pretty much focuses on Guillermo, Nadja, and Nandor at this, like, capital firm, and Laszlo and Colin Robinson pretty much doing their kind of Frankenstein kind of stuff. So let's deal with theirs first. They're pretty much trying to figure out what's kind of going on. They first are pretty much looking for a head, because that's pretty much all that Laszlo needs. He, of course, has, like, this outdated thing for it, but decides to kind of, like, go with Colin, and Colin's like, yeah, I just kind of want to make a friend, doing an Uber, kind of finding this one dude who's into, like, Latin jazz. That becomes kind of like a running bit of his dancing with that kind of stuff. So they get his head, they get it onto the body, and he pretty much immediately is trying to choke and kill Laszlo. He's like, oh, all right, and then Colin Robinson pretty much takes over. Yeah, it's the next one that things start to go kind of gnarly. But he's having different, he's having issues still. He at first links him up with no hands to pretty much stop him from being able to kill his ass, or attempt to kill his ass, as he keeps kind of going on. Let's see. But he is able to pretty much get more kind of results as he's able to teach him, showing different kind of stuff, trying to be a friend, trying to connect with him, well, of course, with the Latin jazz, and teaching him things, and is able to showcase, like, hey, look, he's got that mouse, and he's not killing it and whatnot. And Leslie's like, all right, let's get this shit done and do this shit before, of course, the monster eats the mouse rat thing, and Colin's like, fine, you get a treat, as they then start kind of dancing to kind of end out that episode. The kind of change up that we got for Guillermo is that this dude at this, let's see, Canon Capital Group, Canon Capital Strategies. What happened was his shit kind of got fucked up, but Guillermo pretty much made the correct order and was bringing it in and got brought into the mailroom. Nadja is worried about Guillermo because a familiar left and then came back and killed all of the vampires because she couldn't deal with how shitty the human world was. And it's like, what if they thought that the vampires were the shitty ones to him and just came and like killed them all? So she goes in and pretty much tries to smooth stuff over, pretty much taking out this annoying chick, pretty much setting up Guillermo to like rise through the ranks of the company. And Nandor's just there as the janitor and pretty much just kind of janitor stuff. Guillermo is at first like, get the fuck out of here. What the fuck's going on? I can do this myself. And we see that she pretty much starts giving him opportunities, and Guillermo is able to kind of like lay him up and get everything, becoming an assistant to this to the Adrian guy, who lets the documentary thing kind of happen because he gets pretty much talked into it by the documentary crew. I wish they had went a little bit more into that and be like, yeah, we kind of need to follow this weird ass dude around. Like, there's a lot of different kind of stuff they could have done for that and to create some interesting kind of conflicts and tensions, but we only just get a little bit of it before the dude's like, yeah, just ignore that. We're quite all right. But we see that Nadja stops this Ryan dude from handling this big important meeting where she said that Guillermo had like 10 minutes to pretty much bone up on this really important investment client kind of person, and he like scrolls through their Instagram and really hits it out of the park with them, really kind of connecting personally with the dude and setting it up. And Adrian's like, all right, you're on it, Guillermo. And wondering where Ryan is, and Nadja pretty much just killed him, and that her and Nandor pretty much deal with that. So we'll kind of see what goes on. I wasn't really kind of like laugh out loud at the situation or anything. When you get so deep into a series, about 6 seasons, you have to be careful of running into the same kind of similar kind of stories, and it just wasn't really working for me. It wasn't horrendous, but we've seen them kind of mucking about with Guillermo's kind of life and everything like that. I kind of wanted more of a kind of fresh spin, or the usual kind of humor that What We Do in the Shadows is kind of known for. But this one, again, they're not like the worst thing ever, but I was almost teetering on the edge of boredom on these 3 episodes. Alright, that. And then we get to the sleep hypnosis. This one was a little bit more funny for me, because we see that Colin sees that there's this kind of power struggle going on for pretty much the room underneath the stairs. Since Laszlo is continuing his experiment for the monster, he's got a lot of body parts strewn about, and not just like, just fucking put all of them under there. Nandor, of course, wants to use it as a gym thing. But of course, as we're seeing the kind of power play get into the fact, we see that Colin is dealing with this and is not happy with this. Another kind of funny thing was that there's so much kind of negative energy in the first episode that Colin just was like getting fat because of the energy that he was absorbing, and him running around on the rascal and having a little crossbow. That was a kind of interesting and funny kind of thing to kind of work through. Here, he understands the power dynamics have shifted. Whereas Nadja and Laszlo used to be more of a united front, and Nandor and Guillermo were another kind of united front, and he would usually be a tiebreaker. He doesn't have that, so he's trying to make kind of like an alliance with Nandor. And he, of course, is talking through it with Guillermo to try and understand what to kind of go through, and brings up with the idea of, because he thinks that they're either going to kill Colin or force him out of the house. So he's like, should I hypnotize him? He's like, you could probably try and do sleep hypnosis, and then of course that screws up the entire kind of thing. We see that he pretty much gets Nandor to be hypnotized to be on his side, and only trust Colin as an ally. But we see that Nandor has then shifted to his, let's see, Kolindar kind of warrior persona, and is only speaking in that language, so they've got to kind of use their phones for that. That was kind of funny. Before they kind of started moving into kind of crazier kind of directions, with Colin pretty much hypnotizing Nandor to only be able to speak in Richard Nixon kind of quotes, which got close to South Park Tigrity Farms territory for me, i.e. it started going for a little bit too long, but they were able to kind of fix it at a certain kind of point. Thing is, Nadja starts seeing this like, wait, sleep hypnosis, understanding what's kind of going on with that, and does the same thing to Laszlo in order for him to be more cleanly, and he's just going around cleaning everything like a crazy ass madman, and then it's like he gets it in his idea, and they all just pretty much start sleep hypnotizing each other. It's like, shit. So Guillermo pretty much goes to the Baron to pretty much get a sleep hypnosis thing from him that he pretty much records on his phone, and utilizes it on the housemates. However, they all have forgotten. It like puts him back to like zero state. It's like, oh shit, this isn't good. But we learn from the guide that shit like that would happen at vampire camps, and she's able to help Guillermo reverse it. Thing that I got kind of afraid of was that Colin Robinson sleep hypnotized Guillermo, pretty much putting him back to season, like even before season 1, to then interview with Nandor to be his familiar, and Nandor's like, I'll shift him back afterwards, let him sleep under here, under the stairs again. It's like, oh god, please don't let this be where we just have him back in the house wanting to be a vampire again. But it does show character growth for Nandor to be like, yeah, I'm going to turn him back and everything like that. So we did get some interesting kind of bits there with the character growth. I liked that. I want to see more of that, because normally Nandor would use that to his advantage pretty much the whole season, I think. Now, he still has the ability to do that, but overall, there weren't really that many kind of things that really got me to the highs that I had seen in previous seasons. There were certain kind of funny kind of tricks, like Laszlo kind of tricking Colin into using, like, getting shocked and thrown around, getting tossed about, and all that kind of stuff. But nothing really that just jumped out at me like previous seasons had. It was okay, and I probably would have liked it better if they just didn't shoot it all, like 3 of them in one shot. It's like, they're a little bit over 30 minutes, but not quite 40 minutes, and you're like, oh god, that's kind of a lot to go through. It kind of is. It's like, why did we just... If you've got 11 episodes, and you're cracking out 3 of them in a premiere, that's kind of nutty to me, and I would just either prefer 1 at a shot if you're going to do 1 at a shot, or let a binge model go, so that way you can just see them all, and then see how it kind of goes. This one, I think, benefits from being week to week. So we'll see how this kind of goes. This isn't the strongest start that I'd hoped for the final season, but it's not the complete and utter worst. I wasn't completely bored. I was close to it. So I would still recommend it to see what's kind of going on, seeing the house kind of shenanigans, seeing Colin really kind of freaking out for the power dynamics of the house, with even Guillermo not really being in the house, but still in the kind of wanking shed, and him still needing to fix the vampire's problems. That's fine, but you have to take into account that we're trying to change the status quo, and that the status quo is a little bit different. And they kind of do, but kind of don't. I I hope that the next couple of episodes are kind of stronger and that we finish out with a really kind of cool one that kind of wraps up our characters' arcs, even if not like doing anything kind of really big or just leaving him at the kind of status quo. I've liked seeing the character growth of Nandor. He doesn't need to be this relentless conqueror, but I want to see him kind of deal with that. Nadja doing her own kind of stuff and working with her doll. Laszlo trying to be that kind of wacky man of science and weird ass kind of shit that he usually does. We'll see how this kind of works out. I love the actors. And when they've got true and awesome content, they are able to fucking knock this shit out of the park. So they aren't a problem for me. It's the content and what they're trying to kind of work around, because it's like, we've kind of dealt with the conquering of the New World kind of spiel. It just gives me real echoes of like, we've kind of been here before, but not complete copy and paste. Hopefully that evens out as we get throughout the season, because I don't think Jerry really adds much else other than just having thrown the house into chaos to like shake up the status quo to a little bit, and I think that could have been achieved without that. I kind of think that the housemates kind of falling apart with Guillermo being out and then having to come back in to kind of get everything right, or at least have him work with them to make sure that they don't need him, and to have him be able to go off on his own, character-wise. That would be an important kind of character story. I think those would have had better kind of anchoring points for this season. But we'll see if any of this kind of like pops up or is dealt with. So those are my opinions on these episodes, on this Season 6 premiere. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked them, if you didn't like them, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.